treated it as a survival course more than a rally. So looks like scoreboard's changed now after that stage.
And special stage continues on Supersport. 2 tarmac stages wrapped up the first day of rallying, and again they proved to be popular with spectators. Drivers were obviously pleased to be out of the power-sapping mud in the forests and revelled on the smooth tar and fast straights of stage 6, which was back in Newton. Volkswagen Judd had set the pace on the last dirt stage, but Supervan was back in his stride at the head of the Daewoo team train and took the stage win by just a second from key. The powerful 2-litre Daewoo engines making the most of the long straights as the banks of spotlights turned darkness into almost daylight. Back on the pace were Van der Walt and Harding, their gap taking 2 seconds longer than Hobbits to complete the stage. Close racing. Lawrence was trying hard to keep Hubig from snatching 3rd place, but even though the Conquest is known for its agile handling, Hubig gained 7 seconds in an all-out effort to get that much-wanted podium finish this time round.
Well, the previous one we decided to really try 11/10 exercise on that one, and obviously it paid off. The question really is whether the car would be able to sustain that sort of pace, which I doubt, and we might do 1 or 2 tomorrow and see how it goes. As far as the last stage is concerned, it's a nice little Mickey Mouse stage, as we call them, a nice spectator stage, and that was okay. You know, we enjoyed it, and that's about the best I can say about that stage.
Next stop was a short blast in Port Elizabeth before a welcome break and an overnight stop at the Summerstrand Hotel. Morsted's pace was enough to ensure that he held on to 7th place before he grabbed the handbrake and disappeared down an alley toward the finish. Another consistent and enthusiastic crew is the Western Cape-based golf team of Pierre Goosen and Ossie de Jong. They are seen at every event and are capable of a top 10 finish anytime. After flying off a bridge with spectacular results at the last round, Keith Coleman and Uwe Koch were pleased to be holding 6th place ahead of Mostert and the Group N leaders Sanders and Hooper. Cobus Edas and Derek Jacobs don't often venture too far from their home in Cape Town, but had driven their Toyota wisely to complete the day in what was to become an unlucky 13th place. Running a close second in Group N and 9th overall was the Van der Westhuizen team, and not far behind them was the ex-Group N circuit racing conquest of Loubser and Sullivan. Durban's Craig Trott and Philip Handry are capable of good results in their old-style conquest, when they get it right, that is. We'll allow you to decide whose mistake was it, the driver or the navigator. Never mind, the tyres felt it all. At the halfway mark, Van der Merwe and Boshoff held a narrow lead over teammates Keenan and Hodgson, while Lawrence and Paisley were in another giant-killing 3rd position ahead of Hubig and Judd in the first Formula 2 car. Despite the Daewoo teams running to team orders, the pace was very fast, and Van der Merwe eked out another 4 seconds over his younger teammate on the day's opening stage, which was a rerun of the Longmore Forest stages. It's not often one gets an opportunity to watch the 11 times rally champion at work like this. In complete control. Clearly, Keane was still trying hard too, but at this level of competition, a driver's mind is programmed to operate at speed only. There is a very real danger of making a mistake when you relax. In motorsport, the saying is, the smaller the engine, the harder the work. Compare Lawrence's non-stop seesawing at the wheel of his conquest to the relaxed poise Van der Merwe showed earlier. Although drier than the previous day, the roads were now rougher, and exposed rocks were always a danger for those who strayed close to the edge, and some corners were slippery, as Hubig found out. Next along were Van der Walt and Harding. They too found the corners more slippery than expected. Oops, this cost them a few seconds to Hubig and Judd. Another service park, and the Daewoo technicians spring into action. Quick service, wheel alignment, and free wash and polish coming up in just 12 minutes. Oh, and by the way, check the tires, will you?
Sorrel, you survived day one and you're leading. Do you expect the stages today to be rougher?
I think probably so, yes, because it was so wet yesterday. It's probably well, as we saw on the last stage, it's like a middle Maniki with deep ruts on the side, and it's corrugation and mud and God knows what else. So I think today will mainly be a day for survival.
In a testimony to good preparation standards, the Lawrence Conquest needed little attention.
I'll keep up my pace to try and keep Abich behind me. If he catches, I'll let it be. But I'm driving as hard as I can without taking any risks.
Mud clinging to the inside of wheel rims creates a lot of wheel vibration, but wasn't affecting the Group N leader.
Dean, you're leading Group N and you're in 8th place. What are these conditions like for a Group N car?
They're not too good at all, Steve. They, without the limited slip dip or anything like that, the car's just all over the place. This last stage wasn't too bad, but stage 4 yesterday, which we're repeating now, was unbelievable. It was like an ice rink, basically.
Our man on the spot, Steve Wicks, getting the inside story. The battle for line honours in Group N was still close, and Van der Westhuizen wasn't far behind. But that was soon to change when Sanders slid off the road and lost 20 minutes before rejoining, which put him well and truly out of the contest. Now, Van der Westhuizen was leading the category for Daewoo, and as Coleman had retired in special stage 8, they were in 7th place. Behind them was still Loepsha, and he wasn't about to take any unnecessary risks at this late stage of the game. Gijs Klein and Tricia Evans lost a lot of time limping through the stage en route to a service for a quick gearbox change. Their hopes of a top 10 finish had just about vanished. With Klein's problem, Joe Free and John Wright found themselves leading the N3 class by a country mile. Young Bang was giving a good account of himself on his national debut, getting faster and faster as the rally wore on, and held an impressive 4th in the Group N class. Chasing him were Alan Worms and Ashley Gierike in a similar 1600 Corsa. Back at the service park, Van der Merwe had a slight altercation with a Michelin tyre truck. Fortunately, the Daewoo service vans are equipped to deal with just such emergencies.
Yeah, and a service van is a critical ingredient of a rally team. What goes into a typical service van?
Well, we see it as a moving workshop. In other words, when we come on a rally, virtually our whole workshop goes into a service van. And there's not one item that you can say is critical. Everything is critical. Because it has happened quite often to me that you tend to leave stuff at home because you don't think you're going to need it, and then you need it. So we try and cater for every little bolt and nut on the car, bar like a spare engine. So apart from a spare engine and a spare body shell, virtually the rest is in the service van. Obviously, apart from the parts that we carry, the vehicle is also rigged with a generator for power. It's rigged with a fuel pump so that we can pump fuel into the rally cars. And then it's also rigged with the cleaners that we've been using to clean the cars off. So we carry approximately 250 litres of water and 250 litres of racing fuel. And then power equipment, drills, grinders. And in addition to that, we also carry a compressor in there, plus a large bottle of nitrogen to also run air tools with. So it's pretty well organized in there, and the guys know where everything is amazingly, so I don't know how they do it, but they tend to find things in there.
Like Johan says, every nut comes along. Stage 10 was the last before a regroup and the final stage in the Longmore Forests, and Keane was closing the gap on Van der Merwe, who was calling up all his experience in an effort to just keep ahead. Habig and Judd were trying their utmost to catch Lawrence and get another top 3 placing. Their forceful driving paid off, and the Golf was able to pull back half a minute. Team orders or not, Keane was flying and won the stage by 4 seconds. One mistake from the elder statesman of rallying and the lead could change. Action man Lawrence wasn't about to give 3rd place to Habig without a fight, and with 2 gravel stages left, the scene was set for a thrilling fight for 3rd place. Lawrence and Paisley have mastered Class S18 this year, and there are rumours of them moving into the top class next season. If it does happen, it would be a just reward for the hard-trying Italian pair. Van Van der Walt and Harding were in trouble with a sticky gearbox. Luckily, there was over an hour of service time available at the recrew, but they were losing at least 2 seconds a kilometre to the Formula 2 leaders, Habig and Judd. As Van der Walt reached the service park, he switched roles from driver to technician as they set about changing the problematic gearbox. Richard Bem blotted his copybook with a quick roll on stage 10, but he found the step up in rallying quite a challenge.
It's a lot different to the local rallies. It's a lot longer, a lot harder, and the competition is a lot stiffer. I'm finding it very difficult because it's hell of a wet, and the roads are very different to the local events where they're mainly amongst the wheat fields, and here it's in the forest where there's pine needles and the roads are very, very tight and slippery. And if you go off, you can go down the mountainside in a big way.
During the morning, Mostert was having difficulty with his clutch, and it was bled and checked during service. He was on his way again, still settled in 6th place. Now, Van der Westhuizen was piling on the pressure, although it seemed unlikely that the Daewoo would be able to make up much time on the ailing Toyota. Not wanting to jeopardize a good points haul, Loubser and Sullivan were content to finish in 8th place and take the runner-up Group N placing. De Jong and Goosen, though, were making up ground on the Toyota and had moved ahead on stage 10. Now their target was the Van der Westhuizen crew. Just getting through the first day was an achievement on its own, but Trott and Hanbury were up in the top 10 and had upped their pace in an attempt to catch the Group N cars. After his earlier gearbox problem, Klein had dropped well back from the top 10 and was trying hard to make up lost ground. One man really throwing caution to the wind was Sanders. Quite simply put, he had nothing to lose and everything to gain. You're watching Special Stage. The Coetzee were putting their knowledge of the forests to good effect. They were lying second in Class S18. Spotty Woodhead was having another of his typically cautious drives, while the golf of Viv Hosford and Paul Verhoef sounded rough, but was still going good. After some panel beating, Bem was back on the pace, but had lost places to the similar car of Worms and Gericke, who seemed rather unhurried. Hopes of a top 10 finish for the golf crew of Atti Klute and Mani Strydom were dashed when they lost 15 minutes on the opening stage of the day. However, at the top of the board, Sarel van der Merwe was still going well.
Sarel, yesterday you did the stage, but today you went through there much quicker.
Yes, but Enzo went even quicker. He's now leading by 1 second.
Enzo's time brought out some vintage driving from Van der Merwe, and he quickly redressed the situation on the penultimate stage. Keane didn't look much slower, but finished 3 seconds adrift. Team orders or not, this show was worthwhile. Lawrence and Paisley lost 5 seconds to Habig and Judd, and with just 1 stage left ahead of them, 3rd place was up for grabs. Van der Walt had a rather wild moment, which met with the spectators' approval. The final stage was around North End Lake in Port Elizabeth, and Van der Westhuizen found himself in 6th place, with Mostert's clutch giving up 2 stages from home. There was a big cheer for the local Coetzee team, who were now 10th, but behind Trott, who was behind them on the road, Goosen and de Jong were still chasing Van der Westhuizen, but it was to no avail. Likewise, Sanders never gave up hope of collecting some valuable points. The final classification saw Van der Merwe win from Keane by a scant 4 seconds. That's the closest finish ever recorded in South African rally. Similarly, Lawrence held of Habig to claim 3rd by just 6 seconds. Van der Westhuizen's 6th place and Group N win was enough to give Daewoo the manufacturer's prize, despite having only 3 cars entered in the event. This victory moves Supervan into a commanding lead at the top of the championship log. And now the question, will he win an unprecedented 12th national title?
Sarel, congratulations. A difficult win though.
As tight as it gets, yes. I think Enzo just drove too fast. And what could have been a nice, easy day was really a flat-out out to the end. But, you know, That's what I really wanted. That's what I trained him for. That's what I was hoping he would do. And hell, did he give me a hard time.